Today I'm showing you the lightning crit build. This is Damnation in the meat grinder, so you can see how much damage it does on max difficulty. It's also worth noting this is a 46 to 61% crit build. Once you get the timing down on quelling down to right about 50%, you're going to be at a 51 to 61% crit chance. And we're going to basically two tap all the elites besides the Crusher and the Mauler. Now, they're going to be either 3 tap or 4 tap depending on the damage that we get. But it's also worth noting that even on the 2 tap, they're basically dead. On the Mauler, 2 tap will almost kill it even if you don't get any crits. On the Crusher, even if you don't land any crits, then 3 tap would basically kill it. Like, it's basically at no health. So this is a very powerful build. This one also runs Assail, which gives us even more damage, and it gives us the ability to target snipers, so we can get rid of snipers with this build. I'm also going to be showing you in a couple of days how to do the lightning build with Smite, but let's get into the skill tree for how to do this with Assail, because Assail is the more dominant DPS. This is the highest DPS way that you can build the Psyker. So let's get into the skill tree and then we'll get into the gear. For our defense, we're going to be taking toughness on warp attack kill, toughness on quelling, and toughness on critical hit. We also gain movement speed on critical hit, allowing us to move just a little bit quicker when we're pressing gunner mobs, which is really nice. Then we're going to be taking more warp damage on critical hits. Being that we get so many critical hits, it's very easy to keep max stack bonus in any given fight. Then we have Assail with both the bonuses to help us clear out mobs, so we can quickly switch to Assail when there's a larger mob, throw 10 knives, and then either switch to our staff, do more surges, or switch to our sword and push block, counter with light attacks, and then if needed, switch back to Assail and throw 10 more when we get them back up. We also have movement speed is not reduced. You could alternatively take the bonus damage after a non-warped attack. That is an option. I personally chose Mind in Motion, but this is going to be a little bit of a dealer's preference. They both are about equally good. I just prefer to not be any slower than the Psyker already is. So sometimes when I'm killing and I want to move backwards, or sometimes I want to move forward, I just don't want to be standing dead still. So I chose to have the movement speed not impaired while quelling. Next, we're going to be taking the critical hit chance aura. Pairs very well with a zealot crit build or a veteran crit build. Also allows us to become mostly immune to ranged attacks while we're attacking with this passive empathic invasion. Then we'll be taking Warp Rider for bonus damage based on our para level. And once you start learning to quell down to about 50%, you'll be at 15% bonus damage on your first attack, ramping very quickly into the 20. Then we'll be taking Kinetic Deflection. This is so while we're in a area with a huge horde, we can stay alive because we can gain peril while blocking instead of losing stamina. Then we'll be taking the Warp Keystone. We'll be taking the Inner Tranquility, so we get 36 peril generation reduction. This is huge for spamming our attacks, and especially spamming them at high peril for high damage. And then we'll be taking this right here, which we have to for more damage because we're taking the max stack, so that's 24% additional damage there. And since we're using nothing with Soul Blaze, we're taking this. So while we are fighting a larger horde, it's very easy for us to keep max stacks, and we always do prefer 6 stacks over 5. You generally are always going to remain at 6 or 5 stacks, like 90% of the mission, because you're not using your ability, but 6 is always better than 5. Moving on to the gear, because the staff only has a couple of blessings, it makes it fairly easy to get a basically god rolled within a couple of tries. The blessings that we want are Warp Nexus and Warp Flurry. For the perks, we want increased range, critical strike chance by 5%, and then bonus damage to elites. And why bonus damage to elites over bonus damage to flak armored or maniacs or carapace armor? Well, the reason being, and you could have carapace armor, and that would be basically just to kill the crushers in one shot less pretty consistently. The reason for 10% bonus damage to elites is even if we did put flak armored, we would need high peril and the crit in order to one shot. So it's very consistent with the 2-shot kill. It's a lot less consistent with the 1-shot kill. And the 10% range damage on elites helps us very consistently 3-shot crushers over 4-shot a lot more often. Then we can 2-shot maulers over 3-shot maulers more consistently. And basically we'll delete ragers with 1 shot. Like, we'll take almost all their life. You'll take 95% of their life with the 1 shot for having the 10% range damage on elites. And meaning, even if you followed it up with 1 Assail or there was any other damage on it, it would be dead. So, in my opinion, the 10% range damage on elites is just a stronger pick than the 25% damage to flak armored. But, I mean, the damage to flak armored is not a bad one. The nice thing is, for your second perk, you could have flak armored, you could have carapace, you could have unyielding for the bosses. There are a lot of other second ones that are pretty damn good. Personally, I think the best one you can have, though, is the bonus damage to elites. Moving on to the melee weapon. While this is the ideal weapon, the Deflector Slaughter combo for the blessing would be slightly stronger. Unstoppable Power is a really strong third choice. Slaughter, in my opinion, is just a little bit more consistent because while we're doing this, we're holding off the Horde. Even though we're gaining peril while holding them off, we're also killing them with our sword most times, allowing us to stack a little bit higher on the peril. And we also do want to keep quelling our peril while we're holding off the Horde, so we're at lower peril while holding off the Horde a lot of times. So Slaughter, in my opinion, is just slightly stronger, but Unstoppable Power is a really strong third choice for your blessings. For your perks, you want Flak Armored and block efficiency combos with Deflector, also combos with the perk that allows us to gain peril over losing stamina. Lastly, we have the Curios, and we want to go on the defensive end for the Curios. You either want to go 2 toughness and 1 health, or 2 toughness and 1 wound. Generally, for Malice or Heresy, I'll go 2 toughness and 1 health, and for Damnation, I'll go 2 toughness and 1 wound. We do want to put plus toughness across the board because we have very low damage resistance and toughness resistance. So we do want that extra toughness in the build. Also, we don't have an instant way to restore all our toughness, which is why we do want to probably put 1 damage resistance to snipers and 1 damage resistance to gunners. Then you can add a little bit of extra max health or some extra block efficiency, or you can double up on the snipers or gunners, whichever one you struggle with most, or throw 1 damage resistance in there to bombers. That's basically how you're going to build your Curios for this build. And that is the best DPS way to build the Psyker. If you liked the video, leave a like, comment, share. It helps others find the video. I hope this helped.